We you indeed. Hello YouTubers, this is noobifier. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit different in a different way. There was a question on Discord from a member who basically asked, noobifier, do you still use your Z extensions? Do you like them? Is it worth the money? I'm about to buy it. And all of that. And I realized that I had done a video about dual Z extension about a year and a half ago. And then I also did the review for Gunfighter Mark III and the NXT. Those also come with that. And I mentioned that it was there, but I never mentioned whether or not I liked it. I didn't do a follow-up. So today we're going to do a follow-up. Now, as I said, Omni Throttle, which is VKB's product, and virpil Z extension. I have tested it. I did like it a lot. And the basic point is the ergonomics, right? So you're normally used to hands on stick and throttle. So your left hand is usually on a throttle, and that means it's laying flat like a keyboard instead of vertical. This is a very comfortable position to be in. It's very, very good. Now, you trade your throttle for 2 sticks when you go to space because you want 6 DOF. And that means that you can run the throttle for your acceleration and your speed limit. But if you didn't want to get into that much money, you could add this and end up with the same thing, the functionality. So how would you do that? You would basically take your Y-axis, neutralize it, and give you a little bit of drag clutch, and that would give you this friction where you start at 0 and go to 100 and it remains in position. You retain your X-axis with the spring as before, and then of course this is normal. And you can do this, as you can see, on VKB or virpil. It's the same thing. It does help to have a friction clutch. You can achieve this on something like a Warbird or a CM2, but it will spring neutral. So it's a little bit more complicated. You kind of lose out on that cruise control effect. Now, some people have this set to 0, which is power off, and then that's 100. And that's fine. I don't do that because I've gotten away from the idea of a throttle, but you can in fact do that. And that's just in settings. I have mine set that 50% is 0, and then you get 100% forward and 100% negative backwards. If you're going to do that, what might help for some people is to add a little bit of dead zone so that it zeroes out, so that it won't drift when you're parked or landed or something like that. I have a -1 +1 dead zone, very, very, very small. And again, you just get used to it. You'll watch your HUD and you can zero out. The HUD is actually really helpful in this case. And as long as you don't knock it, your ship shouldn't go anywhere. I usually run light spring, light cam. You can see my primes over there. They're still on Warbird. I prefer Warbird on my standing rig because clearance issues, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but I still have very, very light springs and very, very light cams for that. The Z extensions do add a little bit of a situation where it's imbalanced. So you can see if I let go of it, it still tends to knock left a little bit. Again, you can dial that out with some dead zone. I wouldn't ever add dead zone to any kind of those transitional rotational axes. You can add more spring or a stiffer cam and that'll zero that one out. Now, cruise control, I mentioned it. If you're in a hull C, you just kind of push forward and now you're flying and it'll sustain. You want to go a little bit faster, you can push a little bit more. It's super nice for that, and it doesn't affect your combat abilities because you can still do that in a fighter. If you want immediately, now you're back to standard for fighting. So again, Warbird CM2, no friction clutch. It is possible. It adds a little bit of complexity for this. And the reason I say that is I don't want you guys all just running out and spending $500 on a new gimbal because noobifier made a video. That's not the point of the video. If you guys are about to buy something or upgrade, that's good for you. CM3 has the friction clutch. I did an entire video where I took that apart and made it into a dead stick for a helicopter. That's it over there actually. And then of course NXT and Gunfighter Mark III both have that. Okay, so hopefully a really interesting video for you, some food for thought, something to think about, and it could be a very important video, so please share it, send it out to people who are interested in space, post it wherever you can to give me some support. So that's it. That's all I got for you today. Be good to each other, okay? And I hope you guys fly safe. Take care.